Hello, you're listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast. I am your host, Adrian, and this week I want to talk about the book Ask Iwata by Satoru Iwata and the newly released Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Be sure to like the video to show support and subscribe to be notified when future episodes release. Thank you for joining. Now, I want to apologize for this episode releasing later than usual. Mother's Day on top of work schedules and Zelda made recording a little difficult. I wanted to have some time with Zelda before recording this episode. I've gotten decently from Tears of the Kingdom. I completed the Wind Temple and now I'm exploring the Gerudo Valley. I'm sure everyone who wants to play is playing it right now, so I'll avoid many spoilers. I'm having a blast with this game. I'm really enjoying the construction mechanics with combining materials to make platforms and vehicles. The map is far more expanded to Breath of the Wild, which is treacherous with monsters, but also really enjoyable to explore. My favorite thing is helping Addison study his signs. Every time he says unforgivable, I crack up. He's an NPC that you can find in the game, and every time I see him, I immediately line it to him because I want to see him say unforgivable. I wish they did more with the combat, though. Sometimes trying to get the flurry mechanic to come out when you dodge a attack on the right timing is a little difficult, and I'm not the biggest fan of their durability weapon kind of structure, but that's just me. I still think it's fine and it's fun to play, but finding items to use against creatures and stuff like that is always a little difficult and a little time consuming. I'm excited to keep going into my playthrough though. The story and the adventure has me captivated. I'm loving this new direction for Zelda games. I can only imagine what new Zelda games could be like. If Wind Waker could be as big and detailed as the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom games, then oh man, that'd be amazing, absolutely amazing. On top of these games, Wind Waker stands just as well as all of them. I don't really want to talk too much about Zelda, honestly. I feel like a lot of people are doing that, and currently there's not much for me to say about Tears of the Kingdom that hasn't been said already. If you like open-ended adventure games, this new Zelda game is the one for you. On my other main topic this episode, I recently got around to reading Ask Iwata by Satoru Iwata, who was the fourth president of Nintendo from the years 2002 to 2015. Sadly, he passed away in 2015, and I only ever got around to reading his book now. This book collects personal reflections from Iwata himself, taken from website articles like Iwata Asks, and forgive me for pronouncing this horribly. I believe it's a website on or associated with Nintendo called Hobo Nikon Itoi Shinbun, but I could be wrong. It just mentions that in the book, but also it includes accounts from close friends and coworkers who worked with Iwata throughout his career. After reading this book, I genuinely thought back to every Nintendo game I played and how many he probably had a hand in crafting in some way. I don't think Nintendo would be the same company without him. The book offers brief insights into his early and personal life, showing the impact his curiosity with computers and computer games had on his life, to his work ethic inside HAL Laboratory and Nintendo. After reading it, it is clear to see just how much dedication and effort impacted and shaped Nintendo and the video game culture into what it is today. If you want a book that shows one of the most interesting perspectives on gaming, I recommend this one. From small developer to corporate president in one lifetime, it is really astonishing to see how the gaming industry can shine, especially after his absence, only because of the contributions that Iwata has made to the gaming industry, including those who he has motivated and inspired, who propel and fuel the industry to what it is today. I can't give this book enough praise. Everyone really should go check it out. If you like uh, deep dives into the gaming industry, or if you want a more technical, businessy side to it, you'll probably enjoy it. But it's a book with heart. This is a book from the perspective of a person who not only seems to have loved video games, but has loved the people who make, play, and experience those games. That's probably the beauty of that book, and I'm entirely glad that I read it. Now, I want to go back to playing Zelda, but there are a few more things that I mention before this episode ends. Firstly, Free League just dropped the beta PDF for the core rulebook of the Walking Dead RPG, and I am vibrating with joy to have a chance to check it out in more detail. It looks well formatted with amazing art so far. Lots of tables and gear to use. This is really going to help planning encounters for my campaign. If you guys would like more details in the beta PDF, please leave a comment. I'd like to talk more about it, but it is only the beta version, and things are likely to change in this PDF compared to when the full product releases. However, it is nice to have a full idea of the game's mechanics and systems, so I will most likely be talking about that and the other products and materials that will come out throughout the Kickstarter later in the future. So please let me know if you want me to talk about that more, because I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead, and I'm going to be talking about the RPG a little more on the show, especially with their comics and some of their novels. I expect to maybe get you guys introduced to them for a little bit. Um, Walking Dead is just a fun franchise. I've been recently catching up on the show again to prepare for for the game they're going to host, and I'm just glad that they finally gave me the PDF, so now I don't have to check my email every morning thinking that I got it in the middle of the night. The last thing I want to mention is that next week's episode will be the 10th episode of this podcast, which is crazy to think about for me. And I have a special idea for the episode, which is a great way to get you guys to talk about video games and books here on the channel. My 10th episode will be on my top 10 favorite video games and top 10 favorite books that I hope that you guys will experience in your lifetime. I expect it to be a lengthy episode, as I will try to talk about each for a good amount of time. When I started this podcast, I just wanted to tell you guys about cool books and video games, so next episode will be the biggest effort to accomplish that. Feel free to leave a comment on what video games and books I will include in my top 10 list. 10 episodes was the first real milestone for me, and if I hit it, then everything else is new horizons from here on out. And I appreciate everyone who took the time to listen in. This has been episode 9 of the Gamer Librarian podcast. Be sure to subscribe for updates on future episode releases. Leave a like and comment on what games or books I should talk about in the future. Thank you, and see you next time.